100% mind blown by the time we got to the end of that campaign. Wow.
It's almost painful to watch.
10 out of 10 when it comes to immersion. That game is everything that I've ever hoped a dungeon crawler to be.
Real reflections of those actions. Between me and Fez, we've probably played about 70 or so
Yeah,
games.
I think we counted about 70 of the top one. Grab yourself a cuppa and bring me one too.
And those of you not from Yorkshire, that means a cup of tea.
All right, so the first one we've got on the list, Sahd, is Crokinole.
Crokinole.
We played this quite recently.
Is that in the top 100?
Is it the top 100? It's funny that, isn't it? Do you think it was Quinn's video that made this top 100?
Probably was, yeah.
I mean, how did that many people have a Crokinole board? That
They're
this
so
could
expensive.
I know. It's a huge piece, right?
Yeah.
It's a good dexterity game. It's a really good dexterity game.
It was really cool. I mean, we played 4-player, and we just kept playing again and again and again, didn't we?
I do feel it's one of the most strategic dexterity games I've ever played. There is a lot of thought into actually how to perform well in this game, right?
Yeah.
I think that's all the signs of a good tabletop game.
Yeah.
I genuinely do think it's one of the best ones. I haven't played it loads and loads. Can really confidently just say, oh, this is like S tier or anything like that. But I think
I confidently at the moment can say it's not my favorite dexterity game of all time.
yeah, I probably agree with that. My favorite dexterity game of all time. I think the one that we've had the most fun with is probably Pitch Cars.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Is that
I
what
love
you're
Pitch
thinking?
Cars.
Pitch
my
Cars
favourite.
an S tier.
Yeah,
That is
that is
an
S tier. Shame
game.
it's not here.
I'm thinking B. I think
Yeah?
B's a good one.
I can go with that.
I'll just put the disclaimer there saying that, I would probably play a strategy game any day over a dexterity game. Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Battlestar Galactica?
Never.
I've never watched Battlestar.
Yeah.
I do totally appreciate that there's like a huge following for Battlestar Galactica, and people who watched it absolutely adore it.
Yeah.
And for them to go and at that point in history, in board game history, for them to go and make like an IP'd board game and it to be freaking awesome, I've got to give it some credit. So
Yeah.
I'll admit I haven't played this one. It's not that easy to get hold of, is it? It's
Yeah.
kind of marked up if you.
I have played this one, but I know what you're thinking. Unfathomable.
Yeah, so Unfathomable was just essentially a remake or a retheming of of Battlestar Galactica. So this is going to be my thoughts on Unfathomable. I really like Unfathomable. I love sandboxy, hidden traitor mechanic games.
I've played Battlestar Galactica and I've played Unfathomable. I actually do prefer Unfathomable. I think they've really tightened things up in Unfathomable. The IP never really shone to me from the first game anyway, and I have had more fun playing Unfathomable. It could be to do with groups that you're playing with. If it was Unfathomable, I would probably say A.
Yeah.
But on this one, it's landing in B for me at the moment.
Yeah, I think if I was to pick it for Unfathomable, it'd probably be somewhere between A and B. So I'll go with that.
Yeah. Can we change the names on these? Mind
blown.
A for amazing. Just do GG.
People are going to think gathering game.
That's good.
Neither here nor there, right? It's meh. Leave it.
Oh, what's the next game?
Mage Knight.
Oh, shall I talk about this one?
I think you played it more than I have.
Yeah. I had so much expectations for Mage Knight. Everyone was like, "It's amazing. You need to do this. Solo player, outstanding." It was early on in my board gaming kind of backlog. I learned a lot about myself in regards to what my preferences are when it comes to board games. I do not like solo gaming. It is not my thing. I play games to socialize. That is what I play board games for. And then the complexity of this game. It's an incredibly deep game. It's an incredibly well thought out game. There's so many moving components. I just couldn't get my head around it.
I respect Vlad as a designer.
Yeah.
I genuinely respect that. And I'm sure if we probably gave this another shot at this point in our sort of career playing board games, it probably would make sense. But I haven't gone back and played it. And I was just a bit frazzled when I did play it, and it's one that you're probably going to have to come back to a few times to really sort of figure it out.
Yeah, I would actually put it in Leave It.
Leave It?
Yeah, really tempted. Right now, it stays in Leave It. I know it's going to be so controversial, but right now, that's where it is. And you know what? In the future, I will come back to this game. I will try it again, and maybe we'll make.
We'll adjust this. Yeah. We'll definitely adjust it. Yeah. Okay. All right, Caverna. I'll just put it straight there. This is mind blown S tier. Yeah. Flipping awesome game.
Yeah.
If you like crunchy Euro games,
yeah,
and you haven't tried any of the Uwe Rosenberg games, you should absolutely try this. Saying this, feeling slightly embarrassed, I haven't actually played Agricola yet. But Caverna is my personal favorite of Rosenberg. I do really like Feast for Odin as well. I think that's probably an S tier game too.
We'll come back to that.
Is that all right? Okay, cut that bit out. We're going ahead of ourselves. For people who don't know me, I'm strict vegan, and I really enjoy the fact that you could make your village totally vegan as well. So just that fact has put it into S tier for me. You can ignore the fact that it itself is such an interesting, intriguing, deep game. It's absolutely grueling, just like all of the Rosenberg games. This can be really, really punishing. And every time I play it, I think I've done amazingly well. Everyone's looking at my board thinking, "Oh, Fez, you smashed this. We've done rubbish." And then we count up the score, and I'm right at the bottom. I don't
always win.
I don't get what I keep doing wrong, but this game, despite me losing every time, I itch to play it all the time. I think it's awesome. Agreed. Lots of water deep.
It was one of our first games we played. One of the early kind of Euro games. It was a great introduction.
Might have been the first Euro.
Might have been the first.
Yeah.
Like, this was.
It is for a lot of people, isn't it?
I mean, when you get into the hobby, first time playing a Euro game, what is your recommendation? Always, Lords of Waterdeep is one of the high recommendations.
This is kind of like the polar opposite of a Rosenberg game in the sense that it really lacks theme. It is just like put cube here, gain this color cube, and then use these color cubes to tick off boxes here. I never got that feeling like, I was sat in a tavern, I was one of the Lords of Waterdeep in this rich world of like the Forgotten Realm. I think you should play this with the expansion. It's actually a really good expansion. GG?
I would put it in GG. I think I liked it more than you. Yes, the theme was lacking. With the expansion, I would actually put it in amazing.
Okay. Blood Rage.
It blew my mind. But you know what? After multiple plays of this game, this was a game I played and it was like, right, this is what board gaming is about. I don't know if I feel the same way right now about that.
I really like Blood Rage. It's probably my favorite area control game. I don't think I enjoy area control games that much. It's not my favorite genre of board game. I prefer Euro games. I really like the drafting in it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any area control games, at least that I've played, that do drafting like that. And drafting is like my favorite mechanic ever. Put drafting in a game, I want to play it. I still think it's amazing. I think 100% this at very least deserves amazing. Someone's duel. Somewhere between amazing and good game. It's a great game.
I think on its own, without any expansions, it goes under GG, good game for me. With the expansions, the Pantheon expansion, I would actually put it in amazing. On its own, maybe I was slightly underwhelmed actually after first playing it, because a lot of people said to me, amazing, try it, you have to. It's top 100 BGG. It just, maybe slightly underwhelming when I first played it.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of pattern here on the top 100 list for BGG is that it's pretty much like big crunchy strategy games. That's kind of the audience for BGG. And I kind of expected this to be a bit crunchier than it turned out to be. That being said, once I accepted it for what it was, I think it's one of the best of its kind.
Yeah, and with multiple plays, it gets even better.
Yeah, we'll go. I'm going to go GG on that one as well. Through the Ages.
Okay.
Just okay?
This was another one where it's, you got a super crunchy game. It's Vlada again, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel bad about this because I love Vlada games. I'm going to say meh for me. It's going to go meh. You look like you don't agree with me here. It is so much work to get this game onto the table. It is so much work to get people to come and sit down with you and play this game and explain the game to them. You really have to have a deep understanding of what is going on with this game. And I know with time, it can become one of those one and done games. It could be literally everyone comes on a Friday and we just play through the ages. Like all the triggers, everything happening, it is so hard to keep track of everything. The digital version is amazing.
Yeah, that was a point I was going to make. I think the admin on this game is kind of nuts. I think it's probably just too much. It's just sort of crossed the line of what's okay for a board game. It's a deep game, and I think of all of those sort of civilization style games out there, this probably has the most rich and deep experience of all of them. It's an amazing game digitally.
Meh.
Is it meh?
Meh.
So we're gonna hate us, man. Arkham Horror, the card game. This was one of the very first games that we picked up when we discovered this whole universe of tabletop games. We played this together, so it's two of us. We put the soundtrack on and we just went through the whole first scenario. It's one of the most immersive games I've ever played in my life, and then to have it as this like this amazing experience where you have a deck like almost like magic or something, where you can upgrade your deck and battle against each other. Also have this rich narrative experience. It was just mind blowing.
I think you've said it.
Yeah, is there? I said it. I actually said it. So it's mind blowing. I feel we need to get this out to the table again.
I just want to play it now.
It's literally been years since we played that, and just looking at it has made me think, this game is so good.
Yeah.
Should we just pause this video?
Let's pause it. I totally agree with you on this one. This was one of those games where it's like, could not comprehend you could do this with just a deck of cards. This was a wow game.
On to the next one. Feast for Odin.
Mind blown. I'm sorry, mind blown for me. You might not agree with me on this one. There's a lot going on, but everything works. Yes, it looks like so many components, looks like so much to track. It really isn't. It just gives you so many options. It's basically a worker placement game with this kind of polyomino style game going on the side as well. A lot of options, a lot of variability in terms of what you can do and how you can gather points in the game. It just gives you so much freedom in such an expansive game.
I think the general consensus with Feast for Odin, basically Rosenberg's, is his masterpiece, right? I disagree with that. I think Cavern is his best game. By all of what I just said, it's still a mind-blowing game. It deserves to be in the top tier.
Yeah.
Mansions of Madness. We first played Mansion of Madness on a really dark evening, and we sat down with our two other brothers who hate playing games with us, and we lit the table with candles.
I took a picture. I'm going to insert it.
Yeah, we'll insert the picture here, yeah, but this is how you should play Mansions of Madness. 10 out of 10 when it comes to immersion. That game is everything that I've ever hoped a dungeon crawler to be. It balances the combat, the narrative, the puzzle solving, that whole experience. The pacing of it is fantastic. This game has stuck on the VGG top 100 list for a long time now, and it deserves to be there. It is mind-blowing, and I will kick you out of this room if you say anything differently.
I'm not going to say anything different.
Aeon's End.
Aeon's End.
I like this game, but I don't know enough about it. I haven't played it enough to really comment that much. So I'm going to give this one a few.
Okay. This is a game that me and another one of my friends, we play quite a lot. We've got pretty much all the expansions for the game. Let me put it this way. I don't sleeve many of my board games, but this one is fully sleeved. That's how much I love it. So, game itself is a boss fight. You have a character, your friend will have a character. You can get a couple of players. You can play 4 players, I think, on this one with 4 different characters, or you can even 2-hand characters. We generally play as I play a character, you'll play a character. Let's do a boss fight. The initiative side of it on how you do the player turns, I think is brilliant, and a lot of other games have adapted into that. Shuffle a deck, flip the deck. What is it? Me? Is it you? Is it the boss? I love the game. I'm not going to say it's mind blown for me, but it definitely sits in amazing. If you like a boss fight style game, this is probably, in my opinion, the ultimate boss fight game.
If it's Tom Vassals, he'd say, leave it. Concordia. Man, this game deserves more credit than it gets, doesn't it? It's such a slick, beautifully designed game with the ugliest cover ever. Please change the cover of this.
No, don't. I love it.
That's the only thing I hate about this game, because everything else was done so well. It's essentially a deck builder, isn't it, this game? I think that's probably the best way to describe it. You score from the cards that you're building into your deck as well. And
on first play of Concordia, a lot of people didn't get along with the game. And it came right to the end where it came to the scoring and everyone was like, why didn't you tell me this at the start? And it's like, I can't explain this game to you until you've played it once and you understand the scoring.
I think it's one of the best of its kind.
How do you feel? Amazing?
I wish I played this game more, and I think I'd have more confidence in putting it in amazing. I think
I bought the Corsica map just so we could play 2-player.
There you go, because you bought that for me. Mechs vs Minions. This is the most high-value production I've ever seen in a board game. It's literally got like hand-painted miniatures that are so finely painted, and it's not just like the whole sun drop thing that Awaken Realms does, where this is like literally. Can we get some B-roll footage just to show how beautiful the miniatures are for this? This is literally like one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. I think we got about 130 quid.
No. £80.
£80. £80 for that game.
70 or 80 quid.
If that was an Awakened Realms game, it would have cost you £500 for the Kickstarter, wouldn't it?
I know. Now, the game itself is a programming game, and if you're not familiar with the programming style of games like Robo Rally, it can be a bit jarring for new players. Not everyone's going to gel with programming games, but the chaos, the randomness of it all, I think it really calls out for some hilarious moments. We need to play it more. Even though it's not a full-on campaign, but it is a game that you kind of want to play with the same group and go through the scenarios.
I wish I could have played the game more before making this decision. But I'm going to put it in good game.
Yeah.
I like programming games. I've very recently played Robo Rally for the first time, which is Richard Garfield's board game, which is really awesome. GG. This is a spicy one for me. Being an absolute lover of the whole TCG space. So Android Netrunner, for those that didn't know, was originally a TCG that was based in the cyberpunk universe. It was very much a traditional TCG in the way that it had booster packs and you had randomized cards the same way like you would have Magic. And then Fantasy Flight, many years later, after it was dropped by Wizards of the Coast, picked it up and made it an LCG. I think this is one of the greatest systems that was ever created for a TCG. I think this is one of the best dueling card games ever, because dueling card games often don't have tons of theme in the actual gameplay. I've never felt so closely to actually feeling like a hacker trying to break into a server. Like, how did they translate that whole concept into a card game? It's a mind-blown game for me. I'll admit I don't play this very much because there's so many TCGs I do play, and there probably just isn't a huge following on this one.
Azul.
Um, yeah, I'll explain my thoughts. You go first.
I love Azul. I love abstract gaming. I love colors in Azul. Everything pops. It is such a beautiful game. It's a good game for new players as well. It's very simple to explain. Azul works. Do you want to say something? Because I know how you feel about it.
I don't like abstract games. I just don't think they're for me. For me, it's the least interesting sort of genre of board games. I respect the rules, just not for me. So I'll let you go put this somewhere.
I'm going to factor in how you feel about it as well, and I'm going to put it in good game.
You know what? To be fair, everyone I speak to absolutely adores Azul. It's probably me that's missing something, but it is what it is.
It's definitely you who's missing something.
Anachrony.
Ooh, Anachrony.
Amazing. I think it's amazing, this game. Turkey is an incredible designer. I think the artwork's amazing. The design of the game is amazing. The theme of the game, upcoming apocalypse, where you then have to escape, it's this sci-fi universe. You're each these different races and you're building up your resources. And we didn't even mention the whole bit like where you go back in time. Like there's so much going on in this game. It is amazing. It's such an amazing game. If you're willing to try this, you won't be disappointed if you're a fan of crunchy Euro games.
I'm so tempted to even move it to mind blown.
Yeah, I think this is borderline mind blown.
I'll probably leave it in amazing.
Amazing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But move it all the way to the top of the amazing list. Just
Decrypto.
Decrypto, brilliant little game. If I'm to grab 3 games of that size of box, good group game, usually I'd go Decrypto, Code Names, and I always pick up just one. Actually, I don't know, just one. I say 3. I'm going to put in for a 4 Clover game.
So Clover.
Clover.
That game is so underrated.
Those 4 games are just instant pickups.
Decrypto's great. It's borderline amazing. I think we'll put it there.
I'd go amazing.
Do you think amazing? Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you some.
Of the 4 games I've listed, there is probably my favorite.
I'm surprised none of those other games are on this list.
Yeah.
I would have thought Codenames would be at least. Raiders of the North Sea. This was like probably the second or third Euro game that I ever played, and I still rate it as one of the best. It does something I think is wholly unique with this place a worker, pick up a worker. I haven't seen anybody else do it. I think it's just got just enough crunch and just enough simplicity to work as a gateway game, but keep people interested. Beautiful artwork. Is it amazing?
I'd say it's amazing with the expansions, particularly one expansion. On its own, I would probably lean towards good game.
Probably the best of the good games that we've got so far.
Yeah, and with the expansions, it definitely goes into amazing. My only little problem, those expansions don't all fit in one box. You know how much I freak over sticking everything in one box. And they do sell a bigger box, but why sell me a bigger box?
I feel like you just made a meme there. It's going to be like one of those Family Guys. Do you know what really grinds my gears? And it's just
really
going to be you
grinds my
ranting there,
gears.
isn't it? Everdell. I really like Everdell. I think it's a really good game.
I know Wingspan's in this list as well. I think bring in Wingspan as well. Let's talk about both of them. There's some parallels. I know which way I lean, and I think I know which way you lean on this one. Everdell for me is the superior of the 2 games. Me personally. The design, the production, everything is just spot on with this game. And then mechanically, got the worker placement element of going out and kind of taking resources back or doing certain actions. Then you've got the whole tableau building side of it, picking up the cards and building an engine, which is quite strong for you as well. It is definitely my top 5 hybrid style games.
I would have just gone good game with Everdell. I really like Everdell. I think it's good. I don't know, maybe I feel a little bit sour after Farshaw with price hike. It's like 100 quid retail for that game, which I think is too expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't think it changed enough from Everdell, but Everdell's a good game. Where would you put it?
I would put it in amazing. But I think, I'll agree that it's top of the tier for good game.
Wingspan. I've played Wingspan a few times now, and I think it deserves credit as an all-time great. I think Elizabeth Hargraves just did everything right in this game. I actually think it's amazing. I think it deserves credit as being an amazing game. It sort of got to that tier of recognition of Monopoly. This is our best-selling board game, Purely for the sake of my wallet, I have to call it an amazing game. Edit that out. Don't say that.
Root. Oh, wow. There's some give and takes with Root. I know what you're thinking. The game is absolutely amazing. The variability, the asymmetry of each faction. It is one of the most well-designed board games, I think, of all time. But it has one big issue.
It is such a hard teach, this game. It's so asymmetrical that it's like learning 4 games separately.
5 games.
Wait, if you want to play a 5, with the expansions, there's like a whole, 5 or 6 other races you could potentially play. Yeah. The base game itself is really complex enough. Cole Worley, I think, is the designer, isn't he? He deserves huge praise for the design of this game. This is an incredible game, but know that you're getting yourself into a very, very deep and complex system, and don't get fooled by the artwork. It is not a kid's game. This is about as crunchy as it gets for board game. It is an amazing game.
It's an amazing game.
But it's not an amazing game that I've engaged with that much.
And that's the problem. It's getting it onto the table, getting people to come and play this game with us.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
Let's go amazing.
Yeah, okay.
He deserves to be in the amazing tier for this. He's an amazing designer. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon.
Theme.
Oh, flipping awesome, man. It's like this dark Arthurian setting, and all this fog has just covered the lands. And you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it's a big campaign.
It's a big campaign, and we haven't finished it. I'm not going to admit to finishing it, but what I played of this was just so immersive.
Wow.
I think mechanically, I wasn't in love with combat. That's probably my sort of biggest problem with the game. But everything else it does right.
Yeah.
This is one of the finest BioWare in realms. Amazing. Amazing?
Yeah.
Clank. I think this is the original Clank, isn't it? I don't think I've played the original Clank, but I've played enough versions of Clank that I probably can comment on this. One of the best hybrid deck builders in the space.
Probably the OG of hybrid deck building.
Is it? Like, I'm thinking, like, what other sort of hybrid deck builders? I can't actually think of anything. I don't sort of reach for Clank to get out onto the table all the time, but I'll always very happily play Clank if it does come to the table.
There are other variations of Clank
that are
which are better.
Yeah. I think... Catacombs is a better game.
Yeah.
And the legacy version of the game was probably my favorite version of the game.
And I've played Clank with expansions, the original Clank with expansions, and it really elevates that game. But at the same time, I'd rather play Catacombs at the moment if I was to play base.
Yeah, I think Catacombs is, if you don't want a campaign version of the game, just pick up Catacombs. I think that's the best version of it. I think base Clank is probably a good game. I think it's at the top end of good game.
I'll put it below Everdell.
Yeah, actually, I prefer Raiders. Barrage. What a game. Oh god, this is one of those games that it just took us like 2 days to figure out. But once we figure it out, I was like, actually, one, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And two, it's rich, it's deep. Exactly the sort of games I love, sort of economy management experience. It's amazing.
One of Luciani's best.
Absolutely.
And we talk about Euro games and lack of theme sometimes. A game which is about letting water flow down a network of canals and through dams.
It literally sounds so dry.
It's so dry.
But it is so exciting. I find it really exciting.
Dam spotters.
I think I enjoyed it more than Blood Rage. I appreciate those games more than Blood Rage. So I would put it at the top of amazing.
It is up there, yeah.
Paladins. I think this is of the West Kingdom. This is the West Kingdom series.
Paladins of the West Kingdom. One I've played probably more than yourself.
I played it once. It wasn't my favorite of those Shem Phillips games, but I did like it. I think it's a good game. I would put it sort of good game. Don't think it's better than Raiders of the North Sea.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one. This is my favorite Shem Phillips game ever, like of all time, especially from the West Kingdom series. I think it was just outstanding. One thing I would say, I won't play it more than 2 players. I think on the box they should have just said it's a 2-player game. Turn length does get very long in this game, but the amount of crunch in this game, decision making in this game, for me is actually mind blown. If not, it's amazing.
Wow, that's really interesting. I wouldn't put it more than good game. And since I'm controlling the mouse, I'll put it as good game. It's not better than Raiders. Come on, man. Raiders is better. Raiders is better.
They're very different games. You're looking at one which is more of an introduction to kind of Eurogaming, and another one.
All right, how about this? What's better, Raiders with expansions or Paladins of the West Kingdom?
Paladins for me.
Seriously,
that's how I feel about.
No,
Paladins.
I don't trust you. I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay.
Pax Mimir.
We recently played Pax Mimir.
Yeah, recently.
Very
And
recent.
God Whirly, man, everything is just a beautiful piece of design. I genuinely think he's probably going to go down as like one of the all-time greats. He designs things that are just so unique and so pioneering. He deserves credit whether you play his games or not. And I don't play his games that much, I admit, because generally the games that he makes are sort of like, the high interaction American style games, which I don't play nearly as much. But I have to give even more credit to this for going to like a time period that, deserves to be recognized in this space. What do you think?
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely outstanding. If it's top tier amazing, I mean, the production value on that game.
Isn't it a beautiful game? Like, it feels like you could gone into that era of Afghanistan and gone like down an artisan street and just found those pieces and made a game out of it. I think that's what they were thinking with that. It's just there's a lot right with this game. This has to be amazing. Teotihuacan.
All right, T-Series games now. You know what? You got Zolkin right next to it. Let's start with Zolkin. It was the first in the series.
I don't think I played any of the T games.
I love the T games. So Zolkin, I'm going to talk Zolkin first. It was the first in the T series, and I think still to today it is my favorite of all the T games. Putting the board together first, it's like you've got all these cogs and wheels that spin but connect together, so when one thing moves, everything moves. The idea of placing your worker onto the board, and then as time moves along, the board moves, and then your worker will not be at the same place you put him on. Then the rewards are from taking it off the board and where you take it off the board. It's the waiting game. Do I need it now? Can I hold on a bit longer? For me, this is a mind-blown game. That's how I felt about Zolks.
Yeah, I can probably believe that. I'm kind of surprised I haven't sat down and played the T games yet. They sound exactly like my cup of tea. You said mind-blown, so I'm going to put it under mind-blown. Teotihuacan.
Some people think that this is probably the better game. I disagree. It is my second favorite of the series, and I believe it was the second in the series as well. This is a brilliant game. You're moving along the board, you decide on how far I want to go, what resources I want to bring back. This rondel type system. It's not above Zolkin. I'm going to put it in amazing.
Question is where in amazing? Is it better than Tainted Grail?
It's up there. Let's not worry about that too much. I'm going to say it's up there.
Inish. Yeah, I was surprised by this game. I ended up liking this game a lot more than I initially thought I would. You know what we said about Blood Rage, that there's no other area control games with drafting. It's not true. This game has drafting, so I've proven myself wrong. And it has a really good drafting system. Like I remember thinking about it very positively when we played it.
You know, you didn't really want to play the game.
I didn't want to play the
You
game.
thought, well, you know, area control and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just don't jump up for the area control games, and but I was pleasantly surprised by this one. I think it's at very least at the high end of good game. Do you think there?
Yeah.
No, it's better than Paladin.
Yeah.
It's not better than Raiders.
You'd really like Raiders.
Blank Acquisitions Incorporated. This is the legacy version.
Yeah.
This is one of the best campaigns we've ever played. This is
Mind
so good.
blown.
Yeah, this has
Best
to be
writing ever.
So well written.
Oh my
These
God.
guys, they just know how to write.
Oh my
They
God.
know how to make you smile. There was so many like laugh out loud moments we had in this
It
game.
was hilarious.
It just felt like being silly children again. And
Just go play it. We don't want to give too many spoilers on this.
Yeah,
But just go
yeah.
play it.
yeah, there's problem with the legacy games. If you talk too much about it, we're kind of going to give the game away. So just go play it. Underwater Cities.
You haven't played this one.
I haven't played this
Yeah,
one.
Vladimir Suki was one I was definitely late to the party on. It wasn't the first of his games I played. Actually, it was a game that was purchased for me by a friend of mine for my birthday, which is back there. What is it? Praga.
This is one of the ones that's
Praga was actually the first of Suki's games I played. That was just, you know, right up my street. Euro, worker placement, with moving up the tracks, and definitely point salady, I would say somewhat. Absolutely love that game. Another game I'm surprised not a lot of people really talk about it.
I don't think it got that much love. I remember Dice Tower doing a video on it, and they were kind of mad about it.
Yeah.
But when we played it, we all really liked this game.
Really liked
It's
it.
really good.
Yeah. After playing that game, Underwater Cities was on my radar. I purchased it pretty quickly after, played it a couple of times. I mean, it's probably best played at 2. This was mind blown for me.
I'm so excited about this game. I feel like we want to play it now.
Mind blown, maybe amazing. Take it down to amazing. Top amazing somewhere.
Amazing.
Top of
Better than Anachrony?
Not better than Anachrony.
Not better
That's
than
why
Anachrony.
I've brought it down.
I'm just going to save us some time and just say, crew, leave it.
Yeah,
Overrated game.
totally overrated.
It's all right. You know,
I've had so many dull moments with this game, and then
it's
giving
just so
new
hit-
players.
it's
they
so
don't
hit and
get
miss,
it.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
Either it works well or it doesn't. It's not a game for me.
Marvel Champions.
Have you played Marvel Champions?
I've played Marvel Champions.
Okay,
Have you
good.
played Marvel Champions?
Well, yeah, I have.
I think it's good.
I really liked it.
I really liked it too.
It's another one Eon's End style.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a boss battles type system.
It's not a deck builder though, so you have
Yeah.
a constructed deck that
Constructed decks, yeah.
that you've got at the start. You can modify it before you go into the boss fight, but then you're sort of battling together. It's a good game.
It's a good game.
I think I probably enjoyed it around. I'm gonna put it at the end of good game.
Yeah.
No, it's better than Azul. It's way better than Azul. Sleeping Gods.
Just stick it in.
Yeah,
Mind
just
blown.
top of mind blown. It's one of the best games I've ever played. I think this one has gained lots of praise online. There's not much point in us delving into it any deeper, but if you haven't played this game, why the hell haven't you played this game? Maracaibo, Alexander Pfister game.
So this is an interesting one.
It's the first Pfister game I think I probably played, or the first of his big crunchy games.
Hmm.
I did not like this on first play. I think the theme I couldn't connect with, and it was so encouraging of like colonialism, and I think that I just became quite detached from it. I would put it meh, but with the disclaimer that I think Pfister was well aware of people who had this perspective, and he addressed it with an expansion,
Yeah.
which totally flipped turned everything, and I think it really flashed out the game and made it amazing too.
If it wasn't for the theme, that game would definitely be an amazing. I know you, as soon as you started getting onto the theme of the game, you very much became detached from it. Tried looking past that. I tried playing the game and understanding it for the mechanical side of it and how it flowed, how well it played. Game itself is absolutely incredible. It would definitely go into amazing for me. Mechanically, this game is so sound. I really want to give it another go with the expansion.
Race for the Galaxy. I love this game. I think it's awesome. It's such a slick engine building game. It gets let down a little bit by its symbology, I think. I think that's kind of the biggest issue they have. And also, because it's published by Rio Grande, they don't have a good graphic designer in the whole office building. Artwork's very good. Is it amazing?
It's definitely up.
I think of all of these, I think I probably love
yeah.
Race of the Galaxy more than them. So I'm going to put it at the top of a good game. Five Tribes. This is a great game.
Kind of interesting how we first played that game as well.
I remember we played this at the Expo, didn't we?
We played it at the expo.
it
All
was-
the other games were taken. We
Yeah.
were the last one at the library. We basically had no choice on game.
I think I played. I think I played some of the Bruno Cathala games before. I think the one that we probably played first was Seven Wonders Duel. I think this is my favorite of Bruno Cathala's games. This is a really good game, like a really really good game. I would put this up here. Eclipse, Second Dawns. What did you think of clips.
I was always itching to play a big, expansive game. I think the obvious one was Twilight Imperium.
The big 4X
big
game.
4X game. But we never wanted to sit down for 12 hours and just play one board game because I don't have the stamina for that. And getting other people to sit with us and listen to this for 12 hours, it wasn't going to happen. And this gave us a 4X game in a much tighter, compact package. I think we played it in 4 hours or so.
I think it might have even been less than that. We had our good friend who's amazing at teaching games, and he's probably watching this video, so he knows exactly who he is. And he also gifted me the game, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think this is a good game.
I think it's more than a good game.
I recognize it probably is an amazing game. I think it's not my favorite 4X game because it's a very confrontational 4X game. It really encourages you. Like, this is basically like a sort of borderline area control game, but with 4X elements. That's probably why it's not my personal favorite, but it's an amazing game.
I do like a bit of confrontation. So.
Do you think it's better than Tainted Grail?
No, I wouldn't say it's better than Tainted Grail.
How about Nemesis?
Ooh, Awakened Realms' best game ever. That's what I think of Nemesis.
I can still remember watching this video. I think it was by the Brothers Murph when we searched top 10 board games or something like that during the pandemic. And Nemesis was on that list. And that was the first game that we looked at. We're like, what? Dude, this in board games? Like, seriously? Buy that right now. And
then we couldn't
get hold of it. It was so difficult to get hold of this game.
They did a redo on Kickstarter, and that's the thing where I ended up picking it up.
I think it's an amazing game.
It didn't reach the expectation of watching the videos, but at the same time, the story we tell, and this is very important for I think both of us.
Yeah,
we both like good theme.
Yeah,
this was so immersive.
It's one of the most thematic games you can play on the market. Full stop. It's a special game. It's a little bit muddy because it could use a little bit tidying up in its design.
Yeah.
I haven't played Nemesis Lockdown yet, which I feel might correct a lot of the issues I had with Nemesis. But thematically, so strong, so rich.
End of the day, board games is all about making memories with friends, with family, and spending time together. This is one of the memories that will just stick with me for the rest of my life. I was in a chamber. There's an alien with me. And I remember turning to a friend who's in the hallway who can get the door unlocked for me and let me escape. And I shouted, "Help! Help! Let me out!" And he turned to me and smiled and ran off. I will never forget that moment. And he left me to die. Traitor.
Beyond the Sun. This is an amazing game.
Beautiful game.
I think this deserves to be recognized as an amazing game.
Yeah.
I've never seen like a talent tree done so well in board games. I think video games have been kind of doing that sort of thing better than board games, which is weird because you kind of think like the idea probably came from board games first, but hey ho, this is an amazing game. You should play it 100%. I'm gonna put it. I don't know. I like it more than that. There.
Everyone who's played the game is always
absolutely love it. Yeah, it has almost quite a clinical kind of look to its.
I think it works.
It does work, doesn't it?
It gives me very 2001 Space Odyssey vibes.
Yeah, it does. Cascadia.
It's a smaller scale game compared to what we usually play.
But I'm not surprised this one has come into the BGG Top 100. It sells extremely well. Loads of people love this game. It's got expansion. Now they're making like a roll and write version of the game as well. The theme's fantastic. It's one of those sort of just addictive tile placement games. It just does a lot right. And nature theme always just seems to kill it when it comes to board games. I think it's a really good game. I would say borderline amazing.
Not more than Galaxy.
Not more than Galaxy.
Not more than Five Drives.
Not more than Everdell.
Somewhere there, yeah.
Yeah, Terra Mystica. I haven't played Terra Mystica. Have you played Terra Mystica?
I've played Terra Mystica. I know you haven't played Terra Mystica, but I know there's another game which is right next to it, which you have played, and it's basically the same game. It was reskinned into Gaia Project. Terra Mystica, crunchy game. It is a complex game. There's a big difference between a new player and a pro player on this game. You know, it is one of those type of games. I love Terra Mystica. I think it's an amazing game. I think it deserves to be up there. It is amongst those games you're holding it there. But
Gaia Project. Wow. Straight up mind blown. Like, this is, without a doubt, one of the best sort of resource management economy games I've ever played. It took a while for us to get a head around it. It is a reasonably complex game, so not for the faint of heart. But if you're up for it, play this game. You will not be disappointed. Beautiful. I love the art style for it as well.
Very 80s kind of.
Yeah, I really like that. I think there's been some dispute as to people either love or hate the art on this, and I very much fall into the ballpark of loving the art.
Because of Gaia Project, I will probably never ever play Terra Mystica again.
Lost Ruins of Arnak. It's a super underrated game, this, isn't it?
No, was it underrated? It got a lot of awards and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose it did. It's not really underrated. I think it came out around this is funny because it came around the time of Dune, isn't it? And they both hybrid deck building
Similar.
games.
Yeah.
Both excellent in their own right.
Yeah. In fact, another one that was released around the same time was Endless Winter, which I think there was kind of a
The
trio.
Kickstarter came out for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't particularly
Available.
accessible at the
Yeah,
time.
it wasn't. Yeah.
Which of those three did you like the most?
I think you know the answer to this because it's actually one of my favorite games
Dune
of all time.
Imperium.
I got the big box edition for it.
So I know you'd probably put this straight into Mind Blown.
Yeah.
I would put it into Amazing. It's not quite Mind Blown for me.
Yeah.
I respect Dune, and I absolutely adore the franchise of Dune. I think I preferred Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh,
more.
really?
It's so weird. I don't think you were expecting to say that after like a year of playing those games.
Yeah.
I would actually choose Lost Ruins of Arnak. They are both
Are
amazing.
you going for Mind Blown for both?
Oh, sorry, no. I put that in the wrong place. So that's amazing. That's also amazing.
Yeah.
That's better than that. Yeah. Okay. Orléans.
This was actually bought for me by a friend of mine for my birthday.
I've got no idea how you actually pronounce it, but that's how Z Garcia says. So I'm going to go with that. Orléans.
Orléans? Okay.
Orleans?
Orleans? No, it's not that.
Orléans.
Orléans. It's a French name. What a game, for a bag builder. It's just so original. And a game which isn't exactly new. It's been around a long time in terms of modern board gaming. But it did so many things that I'd never seen in any other game done before it, and probably the best of the bag builders.
Yeah, there's not many bag builders I think I enjoyed more than this. Wonderland's War is really good.
Yeah.
Definitely amazing.
Amazing.
It does
Yeah.
credit as
Amazing.
a game, doesn't it?
Somewhere in the middle of amazing, even.
Yeah, somewhere
It
in
would
the
be
middle.
up there,
Let's
really.
go around here. Oh dear.
What's that?
Quite
Okay. Shall I stay silent on this one?
This game, man. I honestly think it's really overrated, and it pains me to say it because it's one of the best-selling games we have.
Yeah.
Consistently around Christmas, this game pops off. It sells like absolute nuts, and I recommend it to lots of people. I recognize there's a lot of people out there that enjoy this game. I just do not like it. I'm sorry. I've tried it a few times, and it's just not for me.
I think that's the key point. It's not for us. That's
Probably not for us, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose I put this in the sort of category of like family games. Would you say it's a family game?
Yeah, I think it's the random element of it which just doesn't really work for me.
I haven't enjoyed that sort of the randomness in it. I don't feel that there's enough mitigation in the game. Equally, like randomness brings really exciting times to games, so I can respect people that do really like this.
I wouldn't even put it in there.
Would you leave it?
I've got the big box edition of this game.
Yeah, yeah. Leave it.
Le Havre.
I haven't played
Le Havre.
this one. Le Havre.
Le Havre.
Le Havre.
I don't know.
Love.
Love?
All right, love.
Tom Vassel's favorite game.
I don't.
Years.
Yeah, this is a bit embarrassing to not play this game as well.
I have.
What do you think?
Uwe Rosenberg, very typical Uwe Rosenberg, probably one of his earlier games. The theme is actually on point. The mechanics are absolutely sound. It's one of his more complex and one of his least forgiving games. You feel like you take 3 steps forward and then 4 steps backwards.
That is a typical Rosenberg game.
Yeah. I think it was just too brutal for me, unfortunately. I love Uwe Rosenberg, and it's still amazing, but it would not go in the category of Caverna for me or Feast for Odin. I felt like crying playing this game.
It almost sounds like it's just the way you're describing it sounds like a good game to me.
I think you'd love it. I actually
Do you think? Okay.
I think you'd play it and you'd be like mind blown.
Yeah.
But I felt like crying.
I already like this game. The Search for Planet X.
Very different game compared to what's already been talked.
Yeah, there's not been a game like this that's been mentioned in the top 100 so far.
I'm amazed it's there actually.
I'm not amazed it's there. This is a logic deduction sort of puzzle game for those that haven't played it, and I think this is the best one on the market.
My amazement is more that I never thought this would be a game that would gain that much traction.
No, I 100% totally thought this would. It's so good.
It is amazing.
I think the only thing that lets it down is that it pretty much kind of needs 4 players to play at.
And it's locked up. No, you can play with less. But the best experience.
Yeah, the best experience is really 4 players. I love logic deduction games, and this is the game that made me love logic deduction. Too Many Bones. I haven't played this game, and
have you not?
No.
Or was it just me who's played this
one?
So I played it with Luke.
For whatever reason, I didn't play it that day.
I think you'd love it.
I think this
honestly,
everything I've read about this game is just shouts to me that this is exactly my cup of tea. Yeah. I think I probably would love this game too.
The reason I think you'd love it is I think it is one of the best recreations of an RPG style of game, especially the leveling up system within RPGs. You get all of that experience in the full session. I'm surprised you haven't played this. This is straight up your street.
Yeah, they did a really small release to this to retail. So getting hold of it is not easy. You probably have to go directly through to them. And it was like, I think it's like 7 years old, this game. And whatever stock we bought, we sold through all of it. So there's clearly people who love this game. Mind blown or amazing?
top is up there in amazing.
Top of amazing.
Yeah. I think I got a feeling if you played it, it'd be most likely mind blown.
Viticulture.
Have you?
Yeah, I played Viticulture.
We've not played together.
We haven't played
We've
this
never
together.
played this
No.
together.
It's interesting. I don't think I've ever actually discussed viticulture with you. What are your thoughts on viticulture?
One of the greatest Euro games I've ever played.
Really?
I really believe so. Yeah, that edition of it as well.
I thought it was a good game, but I didn't think anything more than that.
I love viticulture. The theme is not something. I mean, I understand a lot of people actually. The theme would be quite appealing mechanically. I thought it was beautiful. I liked it. I really liked it. I would put it probably amazing, but kind of towards the bottom of amazing. What do you think?
It's a good game. I don't like it more than these games though. Castles of
Burgundy.
Burgundy. So that is the second edition.
It's a crazy edition
With Awakened Realms, isn't it? Where they did all the amazing miniatures.
Okay. Let's just talk about the game we've played.
Yeah.
Which was kind of the re-edition.
I really like Castles of Burgundy. I think it's a really good game.
I love it.
Do you love it? Do you think it's amazing?
I think it is amazing. I think now this is the reason I love it. Castles of Burgundy, they told me you're gonna be chucking dice, and I thought, no, thank you. I'm not interested in chucking dice. But what Castles of Burgundy taught me is that you can chuck dice and still have incredibly deep, incredibly heavy decision making because of mitigation, and that's what I was first introduced to from Castles of Burgundy was mitigation and how important that is for dice. Having the ability to change the dice. It is such a well-designed game. Yes, the edition we played is not the best looking thing in the world. I think the Awakened Realms thing probably solves that and makes it into an incredibly desirable kind of table piece. But all that aside, mechanically one of the soundest games. I love this game. I really do love this game. It is more than good for me.
I think if we were talking about the Awakened Realms version, just the miniatures on their own would be mind-blowing. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I sort of think the lower end of amazing to good game. Grand Austria Hotel. Have you played this?
Once again, it's a game we've never played together.
Yeah, because I remember playing this, but I'm not. Did we play this together? I can't remember. This is a good game.
Yeah, solid
game. I would put it sort of somewhere around here. I would put it there.
Yeah. I'd agree on that. Solid game.
All
right, we're in the realm of the top 15 games.
Top 15
of
games.
BGG now. So let's go for it.
Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. I feel like I've got a lot of opinions on Gloomhaven, and we've discussed this in depth, my thoughts on Gloomhaven. At one point, Gloomhaven was the game that excited me the most about any game in the whole tabletop space. And then at times I've been so frustrated with it, and I wish it was a different game than it was. I've come to the conclusion that Gloomhaven isn't my favorite game in the whole world, but I respect it. And if you love it, you're probably going to really, really love it. It's an amazing game. It deserves credit as being an amazing game because the package and the affordability of how much content you get and how much gameplay you get in Jaws of the Lion particularly is amazing.
One of the best rules playthrough from any game I've seen.
It is essentially like a big tutorial for Gloomhaven proper. And if you haven't picked up any of those and you're thinking about picking up one, please just pick up Jaws of the Lion first. Yeah. That is definitely the best option.
And we might as well just...
Should we talk about Gloomhaven? Yeah, I suppose we've kind of talked about it here. Yeah. Gloomhaven is a great game. Ultimately came to the conclusion that it wasn't for me because I think I just enjoy the whole full fat experience of an actual
It wasn't for you and it goes into amazing.
But I recognize it as an amazing game. It wasn't...
I think this is your list.
Fine, good game.
Thought you put it meh?
No, I don't think it's meh. I do enjoy the game.
Okay.
I do enjoy the game.
Yeah.
What the game is a very combat-focused dungeon crawling game. It's not a role-playing game. You cannot compare this to something like Dungeons and Dragons or Alien RPG or any of those. It's not the same. My least favorite part of any role-playing game is the combat. I enjoy it for the narrative and the actual role-playing part. And those are the parts that I felt that were missing the most from Gloomhaven. That's why it's just a good game for me.
You haven't played?
I haven't played War of the Rings, so I'm going to leave this one to you.
Okay. War of the Rings. I was so excited to get this one onto the table. Bought the game a long time ago, and then 2 years passed and it never got onto the table. Eventually, I convinced one of my friends to let's learn the game. Let's get this game onto the table. Let's play it and let's go for it. What an absolute headache! The rules were stressful. The figures did not make sense to really work out. This is this. This is this. This is that. And then we ended up playing the game, and it took a long time. And then maybe we didn't get it fully. I don't know. Maybe we were just stressed out by everything. It was probably one of my biggest letdowns ever.
Really?
I'm so sorry to say that.
Do you know when I talked to you about it, I realized in hindsight you were just trying to be positive about it, and I think you hadn't formed your opinion on it, had you? It's interesting you say that. Is it a meh? Or would you leave it?
Leave it for me.
You know, it's so expensive. You'd be like,
no,
leave
I
it.
need to sell it. If anyone wants to buy a copy of War of the Rings, give me a shout.
Contrary to this, the card game
Yeah.
is really good.
Oh, amazing.
That
was
is
amazing.
that's a fantastic
Yeah.
game.
I just don't think it's a game for me. That's all it was. I know people absolutely adore this game. There must be a reason it's within the top 10 realm of BGG.
Star Wars Rebellion.
Was for me.
I would say this was mind blown. This game,
This-
I was
it was
like,
that good.
This was
And what's interesting, it's such a similar game to War of the Rings as well.
really.
And we played Star Wars Rebellion first, and that's
Yeah.
what got me, I need to now try War of the Rings.
What franchise do you like more? Do you like Star Wars more? Or do you like Lord of the Rings more?
Lord of the Rings.
Do you like Lord of the Rings more?
do, yeah.
I probably would have said Star Wars.
I'm a Lord of
Um,
the Rings guy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Star Wars
I still prefer
You
Star
still
Wars
prefer Star Wars
Rebellion.
Rebellion. It's a Corey Knitskier.
Yeah.
He's an amazing designer. He's one of my favorite designers. He also designed Mansions of Madness Second Edition. I love that game. I think it's fantastic. I've only played it a handful of times. I wish we played this one more. Such a tight two-player experience.
Amazing game. It does everything that War of the Rings did wrong, and it does it right, unfortunately. I wish War of the Rings was like Rebellion.
Why would you hide on Hoth?
I thought it was funny.
Seven Wonders. This is a great game.
Amazing.
Yeah, I would say it's an amazing game. In fact, I think it's one of the best drafting games around. I wish we got this to the table more. Like, in fact, I don't think we have a copy of this, do we?
We don't. We keep borrowing other people's copies of Seven Wonders, and we had it actually. We were given a copy of Seven Wonders. A friend of ours, he never played it. He said, "I'm not going to get a chance to play it," and he just gave us the copy of it. Eventually, we got around to playing it, and he was there, the friend who gave us the copy. And after playing it, he realized that actually this is a really good game. And I could see in his face that he was like, "This is amazing." So I was like, "Do you want to take this back?"
Yeah, it is an amazing game. I really like it.
And a lot of people say Duel is better, but I prefer Seven Wonders.
I think I prefer Seven Wonders as well. Scythe. This was one of the very first big scale games that we'd played. I'm not trying to say that Scythe is the most complicated game in the world. It's not. No. It has a lot of moving parts and can take a little while to grasp. I think I was pretty much mind blown when we first played this, and I think the game has aged like fine wine. I think as I've matured as a board gamer, I recognize how beautifully designed this game is. The way that it's like a hybrid game, and it sort of celebrates the whole sort of
like a hybrid game.
Well, it is a hybrid.
The OG hybrid game.
Is it the OG hybrid?
This is the OG.
It really separates and sort of embraces that the whole sort of division in board games. That's kind of like, are you a Eurogamer or do you like American games or Ameritrash games?
I mean, one of the coolest things in it is that all the Eurogame elements are wooden components, and then all the Ameritrash games,
they're all miniatures, aren't they?
All plastic components.
Yeah, so I think this is Jamie Stegmai's best game.
Yeah,
mind blown.
Mind blown. And it still blows my mind till today. It's not forgiving.
It's costly. Combat is very unforgiving if things don't go your way. And that's what I love about this game. Because actually it just disencourages from combat. I like being peaceful, man. Leave me alone. Just leave me in my corner. I'm just going to build some wheat farms. Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
Great Western Trail. Have not played this game.
What? You've never played Great Western Trail?
No, I've never played Great Western Trail.
Oh my god!
I know it gets brought to the table quite frequently. I've just never actually sat down to play this one.
That's specifically the second edition.
This is the second edition. Is it the second edition that's in the top 100 now?
No.
Is it still the first edition?
Yeah.
The artwork is so much nicer, isn't it? It's just really colourful.
It's the same game basically.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you think of the game then?
Loved it.
Loved it.
Loved it.
Was your mind blown?
No.
But you thought it was amazing.
Brilliant game. Going around, and then you've got a track as well with the train. It feels like an exploration round. I think the theme fits so well with the actual game mechanics itself, which is very rare, as you mentioned, as we've already mentioned a few times in board gaming. But this one, everything is absolutely perfect. It's one hell of a crunchy game. A lot of decision making, but at the same time, I won't call it so heavy that it's going to exclude a lot of people from wanting to play the game as well.
I think that sounds like you think it's an amazing game.
I'd say it's amazing.
It's a bit of a questionable
thing.
Yeah,
a bit of a questionable
I mean, what happens to the cows after you herd them at the end?
Let's not go there.
Twilight Struggle.
Okay.
We played this quite a while ago and we haven't played it since. I'm looking at the cover of this and I'm like, wow, that is one bland cover, isn't it?
It is a bland cover.
And it's not a bland game. This is a very exciting and intense game. GMT need to give their games more credit, man. I was actually mind blown when we played this game. What did you think, despite us not playing it very much?
I think the other issue with the game at the moment is obviously kind of the theme of its game and how it reflects on the current situations around the world. It's of a particular time. I mean, the game itself is about the USA versus Russia. What it does mechanically, that is mind-blowing. the way in which you interact with the cards in this game and interact with one another. One will play America, one plays Russia. It's almost painful to watch in some ways as well as you do certain actions because of the real reflections of those actions as well. I remember when I played as Russia, and as Russia, I took over Afghanistan. And then you remember that actually this is what the conflict was about, America and Russia's conflict, which ended up doing a lot of damage to that country. It's quite enlightening in that way. You know, when you really think about the actions that you're doing, and as you're playing a game, you're just doing these actions because you want to win. And you realize that that's all they were doing, you know? They just wanted to win, no matter what the consequences of these actions were. My mind was blown in that sense of how deep that game was on real life reflections and how we act as humans when we make our decisions. Sometimes we just want to win. We don't see a larger picture all the time. It's a game I think everyone needs to play. And at the same time, it's not an easy game to play. It is a high complexity game. And it's a game where more plays and more understanding of the cards is quite a major impact as well.
Yeah, I think if you're a history buff, you'd probably love this. Or if you've got any interest in the Cold War, you're probably going to really engage with this game. I think it deserves to be in the mind-blowing tier, right? It's Brit Island.
Let's go play it now. I'm going to copyright. Let's grab it. Let's play it. Get it on the table.
Why do you not play this game more?
I know.
It's amazing.
It's outstanding.
It is an outstanding game. Is it a mind-blowing game?
Yes, no question about it. If we're talking top 5 games of all time, and I don't play it enough, but it's still in my top 5 games of all time. And if I've got 10 games in mind blown and it's not there, then it doesn't make sense to me. Amazing theme. The best cooperative game I have ever played.
I agree with you. It's a fantastic game. If you like the tight sort of cooperative experiences, stuff like Pandemic, this just takes it on another level. It's a tough game. I'm comparing it even to Pandemic. Like Pandemic is a hard game. This is, it's even more tough than that at times. There's just so much room for you to really shine when you sort of grasp your spirit and how you can sort of build your spirit. There's not a lot of games that do cooperative play as well as this game, and it's remained as one of those sort of evergreen games. Continues to sell.
This is interesting now.
These are some awesome games here. Terraforming Mars.
It goes quite well with the one next to it.
God, it does, doesn't it? So Terraforming Mars,
Yeah.
For those that don't know, is an engine building game that has a sort of core of drafting cards. Ark Nova came out, if you didn't hear, and blew the internet away by how amazing it was, and it aligns quite closely to something like Terraforming Mars. Which of these two games do you prefer, Sahd?
It's a tough one. But at the same time, it's not that tough for me.
It's not tough for me at all. It's Terraforming Mars, without a doubt.
It is Terraforming
when I played this, I was mind blown.
Yeah.
I think it deserves to be a mind blown game.
Because when I played Ark Nova, everything I was doing in Ark Nova, I was relating to what I'd already done in Terraforming Mars.
And Terraforming Mars wasn't the first game to take that formula. I believe there were some other games that did something similar.
51st State.
Because it's kind of like the engine building drafting game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing before Terraforming Mars did it on that scale. I know what people say about the board being ugly. You know what? The first time I looked at it, I was like, this game is so ugly.
Yeah.
And I now look at that board with so much fondness. I'm like, I just love this whole 80s sort of vibe to it. And I love everything about this game. It's amazing.
Because of Terraforming Mars, the blander a box looks now, the more excited I get about that game.
Yeah, that's unfair. It's not a bland game. It's an awesome game. It's truly, truly special. Ark Nova got so much hype last year or a couple of years ago. Do you think it lives up to the hype?
I think it does. I think it is an outstanding game. I think sometimes it depends in which order you play. Yes, it actually tightens up some of the things from Terraforming Mars. But you have to also bear in mind that Terraforming Mars is incredibly expansive. Back catalogue of expansions for that game is so immense. It's a well-developed game to this point. And I think this pretty much reached like, this is it. This is everything. Ark Nova at least gives you the excitement of what's to come. And it's quite a lot more colourful. I think it depends on yourself. We kind of like the space theme, it's something more attractive to us, but then cutesy animals is also a really cool theme for a lot of people. I think they're both incredibly similar games. Just go with the one that you like the look.
I think that's my advice too. Unless you particularly like card drafting in the same way that you would like do with Magic, which I personally do. I think then go for Terraforming Mars. Otherwise, go for the one that appeals to you thematically the most. Do you want to go into space and terraform Mars? Or do you want to build a zoo? We've got a juicy one.
Oof, very juicy.
Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Is this third in the BGG top list, I think, at the moment?
It's up
Second
there.
or something.
It's up there, yeah.
It's in the top 5 the last time I checked.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the best Legacy game I've played. I cannot think of a better Legacy game. I don't think Sleeping Gods is a Legacy game, truly.
Yeah, no, you can
so
keep
I'm
going
not
back
including that in that one. I'm not really making the comparison between the two because they're both great in their own right. 100% mind blown by the time we got to the end of that campaign. Wow.
What an experience.
What an experience. Like, that is just one of those things that just takes the whole medium to another level. And like, serious credit to the designers. Matt Leacock is amazing for even sort of coming together with the idea of Pandemic.
And then Rob Davio and his legacy system.
Yeah.
You know, it's wow.
They're like a dream team, those guys.
Really
Again, plenty of people have talked about how amazing this game is. You should, if you even have the mildest interest in cooperative games, you need to sit down and please play this game. It is so good. Such an intriguing story from start to finish. I feel like if we had the time, we probably just would have played this all in one night.
We were that addicted to that game at that point.
Yeah, we really were. Yeah. Play it, amazing, mind blown. Brass Birmingham. This is the final game. So this quite famously took over Gloomhaven, didn't it? Top spot of BGG. Do you think it deserved to overtake Gloomhaven? Do you think Brass Birmingham is the greatest game that you can play right now?
No.
All right. Why not?
The greatest game for me on all of these lists, tough one, and you've put it kind of towards the bottom of mind blown, but it was Terraforming Mars.
that should be higher up.
That should be number one.
That should be right here.
That for me is the greatest game in existence. But I mean, it's all down to personal taste. I don't think you're going to agree with me on this one.
Honestly, looking at that mind blown section, there's so many good games in there. It's so hard to pick one. When it comes to the rulebook on this, is totally leave it, right? Please, guys, give us a better rulebook. When you do grasp the rulebook, this is an amazing game. At very least, it's an amazing game. It's a very high end of amazing. It's one of the tightest economy style games I ever played. Yeah. I try to explain this mechanically, but it's not really a worker placement game. You're not really placing workers in it. I wouldn't sort of describe it like that. It's an economy management game and a link building game where it has a sort of train tracks and you're sort of building those links or the canals, depending on what area you're in.
The originality of its mechanics and the way it does everything is absolutely amazing. One of the best mechanically made games of all time. And I can totally understand why it's so high on BGG's list. I don't know, there's just something about it. Maybe it's the theme.
I suppose when you sort of conceptualize just running industry in an industrial Britain, right? In Birmingham, you know.
Very close to home.
I mean,
we should have got Brass Lancashire.
We should have got Brass Lancashire, yeah. I used to live in Birmingham, and I think it's just the coolest thing ever when you just get to look at the map and like, oh, this is where I live, you know, on a board game. I think that's the coolest thing ever. I think this is just a very, very, very good game. I don't think it's... Is it mind-blowing? I don't think it quite is. But you should totally play this game.
It is solid.
It's not my favourite game in the whole world, but it is an excellent game. And if you like strategy games, crunchy Euro games, this will probably be for you. I think the artwork is beautiful on this game. I genuinely think that this is one of the most beautiful games on that list.
A friend of ours once said it to me, and I think he summarised it quite perfectly. You know, he adores board games. He's quite a heavy gamer, similar to ourselves, and he's part of our play group. He quite often comes. And what he said about Brass Birmingham is that he said, I finish work and I come over to yours, and when I play Brass Birmingham, I feel like I'm still having to work. It's not an escape game. I totally get that.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. That it is hard work. But I've heard there's a digital version of this that's come out quite recently, and I'm hearing reasonably positive things about it so far. My favorite game on this list, I keep going back to Mansions of Madness. I think Mansions of Madness is it's probably the most fond experience I've ever had for a board game. Part of that might have been the group in that sort of time when we were experiencing board games. I feel like that was such a special time. We probably won't ever recreate that. And I think that's what's so special to me about that game, as well as it being such a mechanically sound and immersive experience. Mansions of Madness, mind blown, right at the top for me. What was yours?
I think Terraforming Mars should follow.
Terraforming Mars, yeah. Oh, we won't be Terraforming Mars second. Yeah. That's a pretty tight list, that I think.
And then I just want to put Caverna third because
Caverna
deserves to sit there.
Yeah, Caverna deserves to be in third.
That's it.
That's our tier list. That's the Gathering Games tier list of the BGG top 100.
It's weird looking at it like this. Paladins should definitely be higher up on that list. All the way down there.
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
Anyway,
I think Azul should go down to meh.
No, leave Azul. You're meh.
Azul is just, it's a bit bland. You know, it's like, if you just like eating plain toast in the morning, you probably like Azul.
You know I can cut this out. Thanks for watching, guys. We've had a great time doing this tier list. Stroll through memory lane, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was nice. I enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. Tell us in the comments what you thought. If you want to buy any of these games or support us and the channel, we stock lots of these games over at the Gathering Games website, gatheringgames.co.uk. Please check it out. Thank you so much.